In an age where athletes no longer rely on their player performances to make money, here are the world's highest paid athletes from May of 2021 to May of 2022. 15. Tiger Woods. While most athletes are on this list because of a combination of on-the-field and off-the-field earnings, Tiger is an exception. Almost all of his earnings actually came from things done off of the golf course. In February of last year, Woods suffered very serious leg and foot injuries in a nasty car wreck that kept him away from the sport for a while. He didn't make his return until April of this year for the Masters. As a result, Tiger only made $40,000 this year from his golf performances. Even with his lack of golf appearances, Tiger is still considered the face of the sport, as his endorsements show. He has a dozen sponsors, such as Nike, TaylorMade, Monster Energy, and Bridgestone Golf. Woods also signed a multi-year deal last year to be included in the PGA Tour 2K video game. Tiger's earnings for the year wound up being $68 million. 14. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron and the Packers found themselves in the news during the 2021 NFL offseason as rumors swirled that Rodgers wanted out of Green Bay. While he ultimately restructured his contract with the team, the Packers were determined to not let this become another topic of discussion this offseason. So in March of this year, Green Bay locked him up with a 3-year, $150 million extension. In addition to making $57 million from on-field earnings, Rodgers continued to cash in on some great investments he made a few years back. In 2018, Aaron purchased a minority ownership stake in the Milwaukee Bucks, who won the NBA title last year. The following year, Rodgers launched a $50 million venture and growth stage fund with Roth Capital as a general partner. Altogether, he made $11 million away from the football field during this window to reach a grand total of $68 million. Number 13. Matthew Stafford. Stafford's life changed forever in March of 2021 as he was traded to the Rams by the Lions. The move saved him from continuous football torture in Detroit and let him shine on a big stage in LA, leading the Rams to a Super Bowl ring this past season. Completely shifted contract conversations for Matthew. This March, he signed a new 4-year, $160 million deal with the Rams that included a $60 million signing bonus. Before the season, it would have been crazy to think about him commanding that type of contract, but that doesn't mean his previous contract wasn't good. Stafford was playing on a 5-year, $135 million deal that he signed in 2017. Along with making nearly $70 million on the field, Matthew brought home $2.5 million in off-field earnings for a total of $72.3 million, which should only continue to increase following his Super Bowl run. Number 12. James Harden. With a bank account as thick as his beard, James's play on the court led to him cashing in on a historic contract. Thanks to him balling out with the Rockets, Harden in 2017 signed a 4-year, $171 million extension. At the time, it was the biggest contract extension in NBA history. That time period was one James must look back at with great memories, as he continues to see financial gains from deals he signed then. In 2015, Adidas poached him from Nike, signing him to a 13-year, $200 million endorsement deal. Harden also had deals with GoPuff, Pura, Therabody, and Vanguard. In addition to all of his endorsements, James made a killing this past fall through having an equity stake in the sports drink Body Armor as Coca-Cola bought the brand. Overall, he brought in an additional $30 million from off-field earnings over the last year, on his way to making $74.4 million. Number 11. Russell Westbrook. Regardless of what people think his on-court value currently is, Russell's contract pays him like he's still the league's MVP. That's because he signed the deal coming off winning that award during the 2016-2017 season. His 5-year, $207 million extension with the Thunder, at the time, was the league's biggest ever contract in terms of total value. 2017 treated Russ very well, as that year he also extended his deal with the Jordan brand for another 10 years. While specifics of the deal's worth were not made public, it was reported that at the time, it was the most lucrative total endorsement deal ever for a Jordan athlete. In total over this past year, Westbrook made $35 million in off-court earnings. Owning 10 successful car dealerships in LA helped Russ secure his bag of $79.2 million in combined earnings. Number 10. Giannis Antetokounmpo. His first NBA ring and a spot in the top 10. It was not a bad year at all for the Greek freak. Giannis made money in a balanced way, earning nearly just as much on the court as he did off it, with his on-court earnings at $39.9 million and off-court at $41 million. The two numbers being so close is not a coincidence, as Giannis's rise to being one of the league's best players has directly impacted his ability to earn money. After winning back-to-back league MVPs in 2019 and 2020, Giannis signed a 5-year, $228 million Supermax extension with the Bucks. In 2017, he extended his endorsement with Nike in a deal that pays him around $10 million a year. Some of his other sponsors include JBL, Meta, Google, and TCL. Giannis this year ended up making a combined $80.9 million. Number 9. Tom Brady. Widely considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest football player ever, TB12's contract with the Buccaneers is not surprisingly worth a lot, but his moves off the field actually contribute more to his bank account. In addition to the $31.9 million made from football, Tom earned $52 million away from the sport. This past year, TB12 co-founded the non-fungible token company Autograph, which raised $170 million in a Series B funding round announced in January. In 2013, Brady launched the TB12 lifestyle brand, which only continues to grow in popularity due to Tom's increased and very likable social media presence. In 2020, he launched 199 Productions to develop documentaries, films, and TV shows. Brady also is sponsored by the likes of Electronic Arts, Fanatics, FTX, Subway, T-Mobile, and Under Armour. These helped him reach a total of $83.9 million in combined earnings. Number 8. Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's earnings from this past year are way unique compared to the rest of this list. The gap between on-field and off-field earnings is huge, with a gap of $80 million in favor of his money made from boxing. Between just 2 fights in 2021 against Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant, Canelo made an unbelievable $85 million. Imagine anybody else on this list making that through only 2 events. The only issue is they can't and/or don't want to take the hits that Canelo does. Either way, Alvarez finished the year with the highest earnings from athletic participation out of anyone included. Outside of Alvarez's efforts in the ring, his Canelo Promotions is putting together a series of fights in Mexico in partnership with Matchroom Boxing and DAZN. Canelo this year also made $5 million off of sponsorship deals with Hennessy and Louis Vuitton to bring his combined earnings total to $90 million. Number 7. Roger Federer. While Roger ended up within $1 million of Canelo, the way he got his riches could not be more different. Even though Federer has taken home $130 million in prize money over his career, he only made $700,000 on the tennis court this year. From all of these years dominating the sport, Roger has been able to cash in away from it. One of his business moves paid off big time this past September when Swiss athletic apparel company On went public. Back in 2019, Federer had invested an undisclosed amount in the company. Along with that working out perfectly for Roger, he also continues to profit from his 10-year, $300 million endorsement deal with Japanese apparel brand Uniqlo that he signed in 2018. Overall, Federer this past year made $90 million outside of his tennis winnings, which is the most out of anyone on this list, and led to his total combined earnings being $90.7 million. Number 6. Kevin Durant. Somehow, KD has managed to make even more moves off the court this year than he has on it, and that's no diss towards his play. In addition to his 4-year, $164 million contract with the Nets, Durant this past year made $50 million away from basketball. $40 million of that comes from KD's sponsorship deals, such as recent ones with Coinbase, NBA Top Shot, and Weedmaps. He also is still on a 10-year, $300 million deal with Nike that Durant signed in 2014 as part of a bidding war with Under Armour. Along with those, KD has an extremely diverse investment portfolio, investing in more than 80 companies through his firm 35 Ventures. And through his firm, Durant in 2019 co-founded the Media Network Boardroom, which has skyrocketed in popularity recently, including signing a multi-year deal with FanDuel a few months ago. These money moves from KD were huge, and his combined earnings for the year hitting $92.1 million. Number 5. Steph Curry. Like KD, Steph has made earning money away from basketball look almost as effortless as his three-point shot. It all started for Curry in 2017 when he formed his company SC30, which handles all of his investments and sponsorships. A year later, Steph launched his production company Unanimous Media, which has since taken off. In November of 2020, Unanimous Media made its entry into podcasting with a deal with Audible, and then in September of this past year, Curry's company signed a development deal with Comcast NBC Universal. Steph also hopped on the crypto wave last year by agreeing to a major partnership with FTX that included an equity stake. All in all, Steph made $47 million off the court. He's doing just as well financially with basketball-related deals, as he continues to be one of the NBA's top stars. In 2021, he signed a 4-year, $215 million extension with the Warriors. The contract helped Steph for the year bring in $92.8 million in combined earnings. Number 4. Neymar. Neymar finds himself here thanks to how much the French soccer club Paris Saint-Germain believes in and wants him. In 2017, PSG paid a record $263 million as a transfer fee to acquire Neymar from Barcelona. The club didn't stop spending on the striker there, as in May of last year, they gave him a contract extension that keeps him there until the summer of 2025. The deal led to Neymar making $70 million in on-field earnings this year. PSG have not been the only ones desperate for the Brazilian services, as Neymar in 2020 left Nike and the Jordan brand before his contract officially expired to sign with Puma. In order to get Neymar to leave a very good situation, Puma gave him the single biggest individual sports sponsorship contract in history, paying him just under $25 million annually. Between that and his massive PSG contract, Neymar this year made a cool $95 million in combined earnings. Number 3. Cristiano Ronaldo. It's no secret that people around the world are obsessed with all things Ronaldo, and the star striker has cashed in on this. In February of 2021, Ronaldo became the first person ever to reach 500 million followers across Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Along with being a fun brag for Cristiano, this following says a lot about his marketability and his brands drooling at the chance of doing deals with him. It's a huge reason why he has a lifetime deal with Nike that pays him around $20 million annually. The rest of Ronaldo's $55 million made off the pitch comes from his CR7 branded clothing, accessories, hotels, gyms, and other endorsement deals. Like brands, any soccer team would love to have Ronaldo on their roster, and this past August, Manchester United made it happen by acquiring him from Juventus, as Cristiano made $60 million in on-field earnings for a total of $115 million in combined earnings. Number 2. LeBron James. A man who has put just as much effort into building his business empire as working on his basketball skills. LeBron is enjoying the fruits of his labor, along with having the NBA's top endorsement portfolio headlined by a lifetime deal with Nike that pays him around $32 million annually. King James has his own media business with the Spring Hill Company. Founded in 2020, Spring Hill has been a giant success since its launch. In October of last year, LeBron sold a significant stake in the company at a valuation of about $725 million. This was all a part of James earning $80 million off the court this year. Life is still good for the king on the court too. After leading the Lakers in 2020 to a title, LeBron signed a 2-year $85 million extension with the Purple and Gold, helping him to take home $121.2 million this year from on and off court earnings. Number 1. Lionel Messi. Just like on the soccer pitch, Messi claims the top spot in a year that saw him win the Ballon d'Or as the world's best soccer player for a record 7th time. Messi made $75 million on the field and $55 million off of it. Like a lot of the guys that are high on this list, Messi's endorsements are headlined by a lifetime deal with an athletic brand. In 2017, Adidas gave him a contract for life that pays him around $25 million annually. This March, Messi signed an endorsement deal with fan engagement app Socios that pays him $20 million a year. Messi this year left the only club he had ever known to sign with PSG, while his PSG contract pays him around $40 million annually. A leak in January of 2021 showed that with Barcelona, Messi was able to earn up to $165 million a year in salary and incentives. Through a combination of those contracts and all of his off-the-pitch moves this year, Messi made an insane $130 million.